Hello everybody, my name is Bennett, and today I'm going to be going into this particular email, and I'll be focused more on this last little bit, but the person's a student, they're working on a team project, and they're trying to mix a fingerprint scanner with a lock. So you scan your fingerprint, it says it's you, and it locks, and then, you go on your way. Well, the thing is there are some problems, and I'm sending this for the that's little middle part. But the last little bit, they get into that it's not a great choice that they made, and they're wanting my opinions on that. I really don't know. I'm not too big into that. But what would be the better option? That's what I'm going to get into with this particular video. Now, as far as that goes, I'm gonna be nailing. Before we get into that, I want to mention something that if they or you, like given that you're a student, are a doctorate, then yeah, go for this level of detail or higher, because you might get a job based on that. I've heard of plenty of people based on projects they done in a doctorates, thesis papers and stuff like that. Like one woman I know, she got a job from Venezuela, and she's there to solve their poverty problem. I know a few people who gotten jobs from Boeing and a few other places because they're doctorates. But anything below a doctorate, I've never heard that happen. Even more so below a master's, but I've never even heard it for a master's. So with that in mind, if this seems to be very difficult, well, try to find something easier if you can, because me half-assing it, if we're in the same class, me half-assing it, I'll still get an A, you still get the A, but you put all that time and effort and energy into it, and yeah, you can pat yourself on the back, but who cares? The fact is at the end of the day, you're really there for that piece of paper, and whether you put 100 hours into a given project or 30 minutes into it, the end result is the same. So there you go. That's a big thing to note. And if you got a problem with that, then you might want to check what type of field that you're going into. Efficiency is a big thing that you got to keep in mind. So as far as that last little bit, they're asking for better options or whatever it may be. Now, here's the problem with fingerprint scanners all entirely. Using fingerprint scanners, low-end fingerprint scanners, and by low-end, I mean low-end technology. You have $1,000 fingerprint scanners with this low-end technology. You have $10 fingerprint scanners with this low-end technology. Some fingerprint scanners, you can literally take a picture of someone's fingerprint and then put it over the actual scanner, and it will recognize it as an actual fingerprint, as the actual person's thing. So there's that. Then there's stuff that you might hear if you're in the market of this, where the fingerprint scanner requires conductivity or electricity or something of this nature. What this all means is that it requires an actual person, because each person produces electricity. Well, if the fingerprint's being read, but there's no electricity being passed through, then it says that this is just a picture, or it's something else, but it's not the actual, it's not the actual person. So this sounds fine and all, and a lot of people think that's foolproof, but it's really not. See, the problem is I got a little bit of background in electrical stuff, not to this level, but some people who deals with high voltages, they can wear certain type of gloves. Some of them rubber, some of them metal, and some other stuff. But swap out the rubber gloves. Most people say rubber is the best to use against electricity, which is true. But the problem is, and I never played with this high voltage stuff, but I've seen it and heard and talked to people who dealt with this, that if you get a small amount of water in your glove, even though it's rubber, that electricity passes through the rubber into your hand. It's less, way less significant than it would be if you're just grabbing a wire as is. But you can definitely tell, like 100% tell, because your arm's about numb from all the electricity's going through it. So even using rubber, it can be conductive to some level, given that it's under the right circumstances. Well, the fact is some of these molds, some of these things where people take molds of other people's fingerprints to break into stuff. Well, you can mix stuff like iron powder or something with it, and what would end up happening is, or you can use a special type, and your electrical current, your electricity in your body can pass through, and the fingerprint reader will say that's a real fingerprint. Because the fact is it sees, one is the image of the finger real, two is it conductive, and since it's conductive and the fingerprint is a mold of the actual person's, both those answers are yes, so therefore it's going to unlock since both those requirements are met. And this, you might be thinking that's okay, this is something a little bit more advanced, like breaking into banks and stuff, and that's not really. It's more advanced than what you'll find with dealing with family members, but it's, you're talking about literally this stuff costs $1, maybe $2 at some cases, but $1. I mean, if you got to ship it in, it's a little bit more, but literally you can buy some of this stuff most hardware stores, and it costs virtually nothing. So with that being said, it is, pointless to have a fingerprint reader in this form of matter. Now, as far as that goes, having a fingerprint reader at home, that's fine. I'll say if you want to have a fingerprint reader on your home locks or maybe your home environment, maybe on a computer, more than fine. A phone or whatever, more than fine. And the reason why is if someone, like a burglar, has a hold of your phone, or if someone has a hold of your devices and they're trying to get in, you got more problems than them just trying to get in. You're probably not going to see that device back, or if that fails, they probably got something else up their sleeve. The fact is most homes today use, I'm not going to get too much into it in this particular video. I might get into lock picking on some later videos, getting into how to pick locks and stuff like that. But you can use something that's called a bump key. It's basically where you sand down the teeth on the key, and you use a bump key, and it will unlock most locks. In 90 some odd % of homes in the world use this given type of lock. Now, there's ways to combat that, like in prisons and stuff. They use electrical currents and stuff like that, and detections, shock detections, and stuff of this nature to prevent that from happening. But, that happens. That's something to note. So as far as that goes, I would tell you right now, using a fingerprint reader is probably not the best way to go if you're going for a business environment. If you're going for a home environment, sure. So, to answer their question, what would be the better option? This answer is simply using something like an iris scanner. So, having something that scans in the eye, you run into similar problems where the thing, some of the lower end ones, they'll look at an image, so you can take a picture of someone's eye, show it, and what would end up happening is the thing will say, oh, this matches, and do that. But the thing is if you go for a good one, what happens is it looks at a few things, because your fingerprint does not move, but your eye does move. So what it looks for is the iris. It brightens the light, or it dims it, or whatever, and sees if the pupil gets bigger or smaller, for one. And then you can shine lights, special lights, into the eye, and the pupil reflects back differently than the rest of the eye. So even if you somehow got a picture to do whatever, the ink will always shine the same way. There's a high chance that you're not going to have multiple types of inks. So the fact is if the pupil does not shine a given way, well, the whole system says this is not an eye, and it will just go wherever. So this is a big thing to note, is with an iris scanner, you can actually use something like that where it will scan the eye and it will see, okay, is the eye moving? Is the pupil getting bigger or smaller? Even by small size. So we know it's an actual eye. Again, with a fingerprint, it doesn't move. It is what it is. And then does it match? Does the actual I don't know what they call it, but I'm going to call it the fingerprint of the eye. Each eye is theoretically different from each other, just like each fingerprint's theoretically different. And the thing is if that is the case, then if both matches, then great, let them in. This is something that would require more research, more stuff. So if they're, I know this video is going a little bit long, but if they are going for a doctorate, go for an iris scanner. That's going to get more eyes on your project. That's going to get more eyes to hire you. But if it's not a doctorate's level, or you're pretty late in the game or whatever it may be, then any fingerprint reader will do, as long as it's going to get an A. That's a major thing to realize, is an A is a big thing. So just note that. I mean, because the fact is, like I said before, if I half-ass something and I get an A, you spend 100 hours in something where I spend 30 minutes in something and you spend 100 hours in something and we both end up at the same place, you were at a loss where I actually gain, or whatever, because you could actually just spend 30 minutes on yours and still got an A. So just note that when doing these things. But anyways, as far as that goes, if you've got any more questions, anyone else got any questions, anything else like this or anything else, and feel free to let me know in the comment section. I'll try to answer as quickly as possible. Leave a like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you next video. Hope you have a great day.